Jails and prisons only benefit, only provide profits for those at the top, at the 1%. But we are not products. We are human beings, and we laugh and we cry and we have real emotions.
Hace una semana un chamaco acaba de ser deportado simplemente porque no se luchó lo suficiente, porque no había un abogado que realmente lo representara. Es ahí hasta donde vemos, hasta donde llega el problema. Contratamos abogados y realmente no nos representan, representan al sistema que está quebrantado, no a nosotros.
A week ago, a young student was deported because he didn't have the community support or the legal support to vouch for him and vie for him. Instead, these lawyers are serving the system. They're not serving us as human beings.
Por eso es de que pienso que tenemos que hacer un lado el sistema y luchar por nuestros derechos. Nacimos con derechos y esos derechos no me fueron arrebatados al cruzar la frontera, ni han caducado.
We all have rights, and my rights did not stop when I crossed the border. They did not end when I crossed the border. They still exist and they still persist, and I'm going to defend those.
Y yo sé que si nos unimos podemos hacerlo. Si ya basta de ver el estereotipo del color de la piel, de ver el estereotipo de mi acento, de ver el estereotipo de a quién amo. Simplemente soy un ser humano.
And I know that if we all unite, all these stereotypes of skin color and race and sexual orientation or whatever, all of these things will go away. Of the people that I love, all of these things will fall away if we all unite as one community. Thank you.
And those are all things that have been used as slurs in the campaign election cycle. So I want to repeat it proudly. I'm an immigrant. I'm a woman. And I'm a Muslim. The days ahead are going to be a roller coaster for our communities. And as I sit here, I tremble thinking about what's next. For those who have been following the news, Frank Gaffney has just been appointed as a special advisor, and one of the things that has just come up is they want to make a registered list of Muslim Americans. Does that sound like history repeating itself? So at times like that, I have to remind myself with words of comfort, and one of the sayings is something that the Dalai Lama recently said. And the Dalai Lama said, "Indeed, what unites the two of us in friendship and collaboration is not shared politics or the same religion. It's something simpler. It's a shared belief in compassion, in human dignity, and the intrinsic usefulness of every person to contribute positively for a better and more meaningful world." They want to take our dignity away from us. We have to remember our shared values and compassion, and that we all deserve to be here, to love one another, and build community together. They want us to forget that. We shouldn't forget. Let's mobilize. So as a Muslim, one of the things that has come up is that we're part of the immigrant struggle, and people forget that. And I think it's remembering the shared struggle we have to do. Another thing is that the FBI has been targeting Muslim families and neighborhoods. If the FBI comes to your door, please do not speak to anyone without legal representation. Know your rights. Know you have a community to turn to. And I just want to thank you for being here with me at this moment. It's been a hard few days for me and everyone else here, and coming together like this provides me that sliver of hope that we can continue to fight together and mobilize. Thank you.
Evicted from Germany right before Hitler came to power, but who was very active in civil rights here. When he walked in Selma, he said he felt like his legs were praying. So I encourage you all to get out and pray with your feet, to pray with your actions. For those of you who aren't inclined to prayer, to meditate with your feet, but to know that you are welcome here in this space and that we want this to be a sanctuary for you. Thank you.
I'd like to give a shout out to Yuri and Ale, two Duke students who have been instrumental in creating this position. So after reading this, if anyone hasn't signed it, please come up to the front and we'll collect those signatures. So the petition goes like this. Dear President Broadhead and President Kornbluth, in the wake of the recent presidential election, we, the undersigned students, faculty, alumni, staff, and concerned community members, strongly urge you to take immediate steps to make Duke University a sanctuary campus for students, staff, family, and community members who face deportation under President-elect Donald J. Trump's proposed policies. Donald Trump has stated that in his first change to the immigration policy will all in likelihood affect undocumented students that may or may not benefit from President Barack Obama's executive order, Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, DACA. The order safeguards students from deportation, grants them work authorization, and enables them to obtain driver's licenses. These students not only have had the opportunity to seek legal employment, but they obtaining home, but they have been able to obtain a home, auto insurance, establish bank accounts, travel, and purchase vehicles and homes. If DACA is terminated, our undocumented community will not only be ineligible to work, but they will be ineligible for most private assistance and work-study programs. Ensuring Duke University is a sanctuary campus provides a tangible measure beyond words or symbolic gestures to safeguard our community. Duke University has historically admitted both undocumented and DACA students who are forced to navigate complex legal, social, and political frameworks of their own. Undocumented and DACA students are rendered vulnerable when they lack support from Duke's administration. Adding Duke's lack of support system complicates the experiences of undocumented students. Duke has the obligation to provide support and provide a community for these students who are an integral part of our Duke family. We see this as a concrete action the university can take to support and protect people of our community. We have reason to believe that without the permission of the university, Durham police officers cannot enter this campus. Similarly, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE officers, are subject to restrictions based on a 2011 memo. This encourages the Duke administration to protect undocumented community members from law enforcement. Given that many students and their family members now live in fear of Donald Trump's deportation threats, we urge the university to immediately develop a protocol for making itself a sanctuary campus. We need action that demonstrates the university's dedication to support all of its students, regardless of their immigration status. Undocumented students live among us, contribute to our community, and participate in intellectual, social, and political life at Duke and beyond. We have once called this campus our home, a home being a safe place. We owe it to the most vulnerable members of our community to do our utmost to ensure their safety and well-being. We urgently request that you directly support our undocumented students at the college and in the graduate programs through the following action steps, many of which are long overdue. Guarantee the student privacy by refusing to release information regarding the immigration status of our student and community members. Refuse to comply with immigration authorities regarding their deportation or raids. Guarantee domestic tuition rates to previously awarded DACA recipients and undocumented students. Equip the Office of Institutional Equity with the necessary funding and infrastructure to implement necessary changes to ensure the safety, mental health, and intellectual development of all students regardless of identity, race, socioeconomic background, sexual orientation, and gender identity and immigration status. To expand existing funds and establish a budget for undocumented students and students in mixed status families to cover fees associated with immigration-related legal expenses. To encourage the training of undocu allies as a way to create a more inclusive environment for undocumented students. To proclaim Duke University part of the network of sanctuaries that provides a refuge for students facing deportation proceedings. And to assure that all students receive a campus, classroom, and community experience free of hostilities, aggressions, and bullying by creating a campus-wide anonymous reporting mechanism. There is currently a national movement led by students and faculty members across the United States to assert campuses as sanctuary spaces. Such reputable news outlets such as Newsweek, The Huffington Post, and The Guardian have covered these student and faculty-driven initiatives. We call on Duke University to protect its students, its workers, and its community by declaring it its campus a sanctuary. And we ask that Duke University take these steps immediately this semester before the president-elect is sworn into office. We, the undersigned, write in support of that call and in solidarity of this larger national movement. We pledge to stand up for support and defend the most vulnerable among us, those deliberately targeted in the lead up to the election, and those who are now victims of hate in its wake, members of our community who are undocumented, Muslims, people of color, LGBTQ people, immigrants, and the differently abled and women. We have seen firsthand the anxiety and fear generated in the months leading up to this election and its aftermath. The sanctuary of our campus must not exclude members of our city and the broader community. We urge Duke to also serve as a sanctuary for our undocumented Durham community and support the work and demands of organizations led by immigrant rights and social justice groups. We must hold our stated commitments to diversity, justice, and inclusion, and we will be following up diligently with Duke community members, including students, faculty, staff, and the administration. This is not a movement that we can afford silence, words of comfort, or your pity or sympathy. We are awaiting your action. Signed, the students, staff, faculty, alumni, and all concerned students and members of the Duke community and the general public. Thank you.